importantly, the next matchup is going to be that we're going to see on stream, at least, is going to be Exposed Secrets versus Bloody Tech. Now, feel free to tweet at us at SmitePro with the hashtag SWCS. Let us know your feelings on the last match. Let us know your feelings on the next match. Let us know your feelings about how we're doing in general. Just let us know why you're excited. Myself, I've tweeted out hashtag SWCS all day yesterday. Absolutely insane stuff going on both the NA and the European fronts, and please feel free to share your feelings with us. Of course, your tweet might be picked to play at the bottom of our screen on the ticker. Remember, that's at SmitePro. Feel free to follow, and hashtag SWCS.
Now, we are going to be taking into the pick and ban phase of our next game, Bloodytech versus Exposed Secrets. Own ban right away. He is the 5th strongest ban, which means Bloodytech they want to pick up one of the top 4 picks. Exposed Secrets banning out Ul. We saw how powerful he is last game. We're going to see it again. Bastet also taken off the table. Another very strong pick.
Yeah, I don't think anybody really wants to play with the cat at all today. The cat is very potent. Also, we're going to see a Neath ban.
That's a respect ban. That's MoX. He is a very strong Neath.
Okay. Yeah, MoX, of course, making up the team of Bloody Tech. That's going to be your Bloody Tech Hunter. You have Sneaky, MoX, Confrey, Frezzy, and Dover. A lot of these players are high-ranked EU players, and MoX plays a very nasty Neath. So, respect ban right there coming out in the initial bans. Now, this is our first European tournament where we have the new ban system in place. Of course, we have 4 initial bans and then counter bans later on. Do you like the respect ban right away? Do you think Neath?
Well, you know what? The other thing I was thinking is it might not be a respect ban. It might be more a we're not going to let you pick the passive character against Funball ban.
Oh,
because think about it, right? Funball is a hunter.
Yeah.
He's perhaps the best hunter, or at least in the conversation when you're talking about who's the best hunter in the world. Funball is in that conversation. Hands down.
In Europe.
If you're saying who's the best hunter in the world, I think you have to talk about Funball at least a little bit, right? He's going to be in the conversation.
Sure.
And they're going to actually instantly pick his Apollo.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think they want to let Bloodytech play Neath against Funball, because I think they want to force MoX to fight Funball, and picking Apollo tells us that, the other thing is global presence. If they're going to pick the strongest global presence, well, what does that leave from the hunter role? It leaves Shibalanke, who Darkest of Nights is a very strong ability, but its use is a little bit more abstract than Across the Sky or World Weaver.
Very, very true. And I like the idea of that, Krat. You're not banning the character. You're not banning to prevent the character. You're banning to prevent the play style. I really like that thought process, and I hope to see a little bit more of it. And something else that I hope to see a little bit more of as we lock in the Agni and Bacchus for Bloody Tech is the Bacchus. It's something that myself and DM Brandon have been talking about. Bacchus is just so potent. The stun portion of his Belch of the Gods is easily counteracted. Apollo can do it himself with the knockup provided by the moves, silence, stuns, knockups, as I just mentioned. A lot of things can get rid of that stun, but it doesn't get rid of the damage. You take it off, but you've obviously taken a tick or two of the Belch of the Gods. Intoxicate can hit incredibly hard. So very, very cool stuff coming out. I'm happy to see a return to the Guardian play, though maybe not the Guardian play, but a specific Guardian in general. Another monkey pick. Not surprised there.
Yeah, Hoonbots is going to be another strong pick. I mean, we saw what his ultimate could do last game. Even though Team Coast wasn't able to take the game, we saw the power of that pick. And the first ban is going to be an Artemis ban. They just want to cut out the options for MoX. And they're just looking to give Funball a really strong lane, which, I mean, makes sense, right?
I mean, does Artemis really play pass?
But
like
she wins trades.
Hunter.
Yeah. So Apollo, it's like, well, can Apollo win a trade against Artemis?
Right.
And not really.
You can if you utilize stuff, but not really.
It's not a straight fight.
Of course. The Zeus ban is a Zeus ban. I mean, but
Zeus it's a late Zeus ban, right? And I think
I like the late Zeus ban because I think teams are more comfortable playing. Or I think Zeus is still a top pick, top ban, but because he's an annoyance. He's a hindrance, and he restricts the way that you play the game. We saw last match, it really stopped the teams from choosing who to attack, as we see Geb being locked in for exposed secrets. Interesting, very interesting. We're going to have a Guardian versus Guardian matchup for the first time in what seems like years, Craig.
Yeah, it's been a while, but, you know, I think it's important to note that Bacchus is the most warrior-like Guardian, hands down, right? Bacchus is about fighting and damage, and he doesn't have crowd control in the same way of Shockwave, right? He doesn't have crowd control in the same way of a Ymir Freeze or Sobek's Pluck. It's Belly Flop. Belly Flop's a very aggressive move. It's a very strong form of CC, being a knockup, and knockups are hands down the strongest form of CC in Smite. Because they are not affected by diminishing returns, you cannot beads or ages out of them. You can only beads or ages preemptively to protect against them. It's going to be the on her pick to go against Funball and Apollo, and you know, I think a big point in this game is going to be that Hunter matchup. Can Mox hold his ground?
Oh yeah, and I
actually believe he can.
I think he can too. I think it'll be very exciting to watch that. But the on her pick is so important to me. We're going to see our second Thor. Interesting. We saw Thor yesterday as well.
Yeah.
Interesting. But I like the on her pick a lot. Bacchus doesn't have much in the realm of clear, if at all. I don't really think you can say Bacchus has any clear whatsoever. So Mox, we saw the Cupid hover. Cupid has fallen out of play. He's gotten nerfed a couple of times. I think he's still capable of playing at a competitive level, though he's not a top pick. But with the Bacchus pick, it would be great for fights, but it would be awful for the laning phase.
You wouldn't be able to kill the creeps. It would be so bad.
you would lose just wave after wave of gold. So very exciting to see that we're going to have the on her. And that makes it a little more fair. We're going to have the So Beautiful instantly clear waves, as well as the Impale. But that's another thing. When you use your Impale to clear the wave, that's essentially one of your big tools when you're playing on her.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a big loss. But, you know, the other thing I want to talk about is Zelia on Vamana. I don't think this is a classic matchup or a classic team composition to pick Vamana against.
Right.
But it's Zelia.
Yeah.
So you're still going to see that Vamana strength, but I think Vamana really excels as a character who, first of all, holds the solo lane. He doesn't really lose lane that hard. And then he kills people who can't straight up dash away from him. Everyone on Bloodytech, aside from Sneaky, can, and Sneaky is one of the few characters that can outrun Vamana. Now, remember that Vamana will have a Hasten Fatalis, he will have boots, he will have sprint, so that at the very least is going to make him go fast. Some people like the Heartseeker, some people like the Witchblade, both of which also contain movement speed, and either way, the baby is going to go fast, but Poseidon probably is still a little bit faster. Poseidon is definitely a little bit faster. I think Poseidon is possibly the fastest god of the game after items. So we're going to see that. I'm excited to see this exposed secret lineup, previously known as iKick. We'll get into a little bit of why they're called iKick, as well as the action in just a couple of minutes. We're going to cut to a brief waiting screen while the game gets loaded, and we'll delay as little as possible. For Kret, my name's F. Stay tuned for more action. And we're back. My name is F. I'm here with Kret. We're going to watch Bloodytech and Exposed Secrets for our second match of the day in our third round of play. We're going to see what's going on. Representing Bloodytech, we have Freezy, Sneaky, Confree, Mox, and Dover. They're going to bring Bacchus and Honor into the dual lane. Sneaky's going to play solo, I guess, on that Poseidon, while mid is going to cover by Confree's Agni, and Dover is going to be lurking in the jungle. But speaking of lurking in the jungle, we have Exposed Secrets not lining up for any buffs. It's similar to how we saw teams play when they versed Denial way back in the day when Denial's number one strat was invade all the time, but this time it looks like it's coming on the aggressive. 3 members, Funballer, Proxy QQ, and Shadow Nightmare, all lining up to try and make something. Maybe they're just being careful. They don't want to get invaded on, so they're just going to be very careful and watch out for something that's going on happening. Yeah, you never really want to get invaded on, but Exposed Secrets are Funballer on Apollo, supported by formerly a jungler of SK, now the support, Proxy QQ in the middle lane. Shadow Nightmare in the jungle role, Frostiak, formerly of Cloud9 on Hoon Bots, and Zalia, also formerly of Cloud9. You know, I think they've done this little solo jungle thing before on Vamana, but Bloodytech, they're looking for an invade right now. The Hog comes out. The buff camp, it will not go to Exposed Secrets. They're in so much trouble. Frostiak, he just lost his red pot. First blood. That is a huge victory. Yo, somebody go pick up this speed buff. There you go, Dover.
There you go.
And that's a big win.
That is a big win. And right here, Proxy QQ, we're going to have the Geb in the mid lane. So my previous... they're going a little bit different today, Cret. This is exciting. We're going to have the solo lanes on either side of the map with the dual lane for Exposed Secret in the middle. You know, you look at these European guys, and you always say Europe is on... They're either on the bleeding edge or they're just trying stupid stuff. Right now, this is interesting, and I'm excited. I don't know which one to call it at the moment, but I can't wait to watch the end of this match.
Well, you know, there's some thought behind it. Proxy QQ is going to take a fair amount of damage there, and Confrey will push a wave into tower, but... So Hunters pressure towers really well. They do lots and lots of damage. So if Funball is able to pressure out the middle lane tower and get damage onto it, you get more map control off of that, because the middle lane outer tower is the most important simply because of where it is on the map. The other question is, can Shadow Nightmare hold the dual lane in not necessarily 1v2? It's like half 1v2 because of the way roaming is right now. It's gonna be tough, but he's doing really good so far. In fact, he's doing a little bit better than his counterpart in the mid lane, I would say. Funball actually sitting behind his opponent.
Yeah, Funball and Geb have had a little bit of problems over with Confrey. Geb has already been forced back. Funball should be able to handle this. So our previously lauded Hunter matchup to watch, Cret, is completely thrown to the wayside as we see Funball play. Now, I like the choice from Exposed Secrets. Ra is going to go in the 1v2. He seems to be leveling the first ability, the Celestial Beam, which should allow him to play extremely passively should he need to. He can kind of just sit back on the tower, throw the beam out, knock out the minions, and play very passively if that lane stays 2v1. Although I'd be very interested to see how Bloodytech responds to this if they rotate, swap lanes, or anything of the sort. Because this is definitely not something we're used to seeing here, there, or anywhere. Two in the middle lane is not something we've seen in either NA or EU, at least for a very long time, if ever.
Yeah, and you know, that gives us the idea of what the Hunter bans were for, right? They were trying to ban out stuff that would cause a problem for Shadow Nightmare, but here's my question. They let Agni through, and I think Agni is just too good at holding this middle lane. He's so safe. Dover will find Shadow Nightmare in that left-hand lane, not even with his Anvil of Dawn, just a solid rotation. You know, part of the problem of not having your support in this dual lane, someone else has to pick up the ward coverage, the ward burden. Shadow Nightmare didn't have wards down, and he got taken down because of it.
And that's gonna be the big thing going on in this matchup, I think, with this new play out of the playbook coming from Exposed Secrets. They're gonna be able to. They're gonna see if Apollo can truly play middle lane by himself against an Agni, which right now, no passive on that, so Funball's going to get away, but he's going to have to go back home. A lot of poke from the minions is going to go on to Confrey, but that's going to be that. Apollo's going to go back home. But Shadow Nightmare, whether or not he can survive the jungle ganks. Because as a jungler, you see this happening, and you just sort of lick your lips, Cret. You get very excited to see a lone mage in a long lane where your team has two and they have one. Sure, it's Ra, and he can run away real fast, but that's a long lane to be all by yourself in. So that is very exciting, and if Dover can continue to punish Ra for doing what Exposed Secrets is bringing to the table right now, this small 1,000 gold lead will be extrapolated in a number of minutes.
Yeah, and you know, a big part of it is when you look at the base stats of the characters, Guardians are way up top with health, followed by Warriors, followed by Assassins and Hunters, but it's not that far behind. Ul actually has the exact same health scaling as Tyr. It's equivalent completely, at least if my memory serves, but mages are very far behind in terms of health scaling. So Ra is very, very squishy. He is very, very alone in that long lane, and while he does have ward coverage, if there's anyone who can gank Ra effectively, it's going to be Thor because of his semi-global ultimate. Now, the snipe will come through on the buff camp. It lands for good damage, and it was a good try. Not going to find it. Apollo rotating over, though. Going to look for Frezzy. He drops the Intoxicate just to sort of give himself some breathing room. It's not going to be enough. But Dover aggressive onto Funball. That Stone Shield will give him some distance. Dover going to go up in the air. Frostiak has rotated over, and Dover likely will not turn and go back in. Perhaps trying to go on Frostiak. Now, he's just going to end up going out all the way. But Gold Fury attempt coming out from Exposed Secrets.
So this weekend seems to be who can hit Gold Fury earliest. We saw Snipe get 6 minutes. We saw our last matchup get 7 minutes. This is going to be a 5-minute Gold Fury going for Exposed Secrets, despite the attempt to steal. A good ultimate coming out from Hun Bats results in 0 death, almost 0 violence. I think he got 1 hit out after the ultimate, but it's really more of an attempt to disorient the opponent, I think. So now we're just going to return to lane. A little bit of a reset. Funballer and Proxy QQ playing his new support role in the middle lane, whereas the rest of the team splits off. So it's going to be 2-1-2 going on here with roaming jungler. So very exciting stuff coming out from Exposed Secrets, and this gives us an opportunity to talk a little bit about the history of this team, as we do see the Freezy over here spending more time in the middle lane, as I spoke about. I anticipate seeing Bacchus in this middle lane a little more often, but of course Exposed Secrets, previously known as iKick, because they essentially have all been kicked from teams that have been in competitive contention.
Except for Zelia, yeah.
Yeah, well, kicked or left, whatever the rationale may be. Yeah. You know, Proxy QQ previously of SK fame, Funballer previously of Team Post fame, Zelia of C9 fame. These mid camps are going to go down. No clue to see who got them. Proxy's going to land a great Cataclysm. A good roll away is going to get out. He's CC immune for the last tick of the stun, so he's going to get out safe and sound right there. And good play right there. Able to knowledge of the character, knowing just how long the Belch of the Gods is going to last to get the stun out, and how long it takes for the rollout to be CC immune. Excellent, minute knowledge of character right there.
You know, I think part of the problem right now for Exposed Secrets is Confrey is playing this very, very well. He's sitting at 3,800 player damage, sitting at level 9, so he's not behind Funballer at all, who actually has finished a Transcendence, so that's going to stack up for more damage than a Heartseeker would have.
Love
but
it.
You know, I love it too. I think it's a very, very strong, greedy pick, and just the thing to give Funballer an advantage in terms of damage against Moax. But Confrey is a big problem right now for Exposed Secrets, and without that Gold Fury take, Exposed Secrets would be behind, and I think it would be, honestly, on the back of Confrey. He's playing this 1v2 matchup very, very well, although he is about to get caught out. Proxy QQ with the knockback does find a decent angle, but Agni's dash is just too strong.
Yeah, Exposed Secrets is going to settle for those middle camps. Not a big deal right there. But so I want to point out, as we see Confrey get aggressed on, out comes the ultimate from the monkey. He's going to get hit by the hammer through the wall. Great play by Dover. I think he wanted to blink through the wall, but not able to quite pull that off. So no kill onto Confrey right there. But I want to point out why Transcendence is going to work on Apollo, and why you don't normally see Transcendence built on more hunters. It's because the Heartseeker Hunter versus Hunter is so important. But here comes Dover up in the air looking for a target. Gonna land in the middle lane. Gonna miss the stun on the Funballer. Both stuns, whether it's beads or just a straight miss. Funball's gonna make it out alive. No harm, no foul. Sitting above 50% HP. That is a missed gank, and an important one at that. As right cams go to Frezzy, or left cams go to Frezzy and Bloodytech, respectively.
Yeah, you know, it was a failed gank, and it would have been a great kill, but it still gave them enough room to get that mid camp. And I think part of what was so smart there, Dover, it totally looked like he was going for Shadow Nightmare. I thought he was going for Shadow Nightmare. Looking at Shadow Nightmare, I was like, okay, where's he going to come down? And then it was in the middle lane. Shadow Nightmare, though, will go down in the solo, or in the duo lane, taken down by Mox with that Desert Fury, and Intoxicate. Funbar will rotate in, too little, too late, and they're just going to push out a creep wave. But it's going to give a little bit more freedom to Confrey in the middle lane. Frostiak is rotating in, sitting at level 8, and he'll do a little bit of damage to Confrey, but it's not going to be anything substantial.
He's basically just here to provide protection for the tower, play a little bit of defense over here. We see Bacchus getting caught out by Funball. Funball sitting level 11, Bacchus sitting only at level 9, so they're going to reset that blue buff. You got to be very careful. I don't think this blue buff has gone to Exposed Secrets at all this match. At all. I think Bloodytech has been able to aggress on it successfully each and every time because it's a lone raw against a Hunter Guardian combination. But going back to what I was talking about earlier, Kret, about the Heartseeker. Heartseeker versus Transcendence is a tough Hunter versus Hunter matchup because you can't trade until later. The enemy will finish their Heartseeker way before you finish your Transcendence, and if you want to box and make trades with the enemy Hunter, you're going to be at a disadvantage early on and almost mid-game. But as it goes on, Transcendence is the highest physical damage in the game, so it pays off dividends later on. Funball in the middle lane, however, doesn't have to box against an enemy Hunter. He has to deal with a mage. He's not going to be boxing. He's going to be using So Beautiful to clear the wave easily and get out. So this allows him a little more freedom, a little more leeway to go the route of Transcendence. I always love Transcendence, and I love the pickup, and I'm happy they found a way to make it work.
Yeah, it is a good pickup, and it's a good way to run that item, but, you know, at what cost, right? And I think the lack of a strong mage ultimate in the middle lane right now is making it difficult for Exposed Secrets to contest these mid camps and control them. It really seems like Bloodytech has control of this map. They have pressure on the left side, and it's going to actually be Dover going over to that right side, as you called it. Xaylia will go down under tower. Dover's really been flexing the muscles, but he's going to find Funballer. Will take the entire damage of that across the sky. Beautiful. Will fall for it. And you know, another point of Funballer being in the middle lane, he can rotate wherever he wants. Frostiak under tower. Sneaky is going to drop the Whirlpool and the Kraken. Frostiak will die for that one. He doesn't have his Heartseeker finished yet, but
he doesn't, but that was a great Kraken coming out from the Poseidon right there. I really like that, and you made an extremely good point, Kret. Funball can use Across the Sky to rotate wherever, and we've seen him rotate rather frequently. I feel like every time that ultimate is up, we're seeing Funball use it. Funball right now is pushing onto that tower from Freezy, and the fact that he's Apollo is exciting as well. He's free to rotate and push towers, make people pay for aggressing, whatever have you. And that leaves a Ra versus Honor matchup in the long lane. I'm going to ask your opinion on that. How do you feel about Honor versus Ra?
Well, it doesn't look like Shadow Nightmare's feeding, so it seems to be going well. In short, in long, Shadow Nightmare can't really apply as much pressure to Mox as you might like. Which is going to be a little bit of a problem. And whereas Confrey on Agni can pressure Funball with the repeated poke from Meteors, Funball not having that lifesteal yet to sustain back up, Shadow Nightmare doesn't really have that same luxury, and Mox is just repeatedly looking to try and kill Shadow Nightmare, right? It's kind of like Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner. In that Mox is just trying to find a way to kill Shadow Nightmare, and, you know, every so often he does get him, but he's got him in, what, 3 times now? So 3 good kills there, split across Bloodytech, but it's all about Shadow Nightmare surviving in this lane.
Very, very true. If you're just joining us, welcome. This is the second televised game of our European SWCS series. This is the first week out of 12. We're at 13 minutes in. Bloodytech versus Exposed Secrets. Many popular members on Exposed Secrets previously of other teams. Not very leading in either direction. 6 kills for Bloodytech, 3 kills for Exposed Secrets. Feel free to tweet at us with the hashtag SWCS. Get your feelings on screen. Tell us what you think about this matchup. One of the more exciting things going on this weekend. Right here is Funball. It takes a lot of poke, but Confrey is forced to go back. Is the shakeup of the meta. Xaylia is going to get a kill in the solo lane with the help of the monkey, and that's going to push an entire wave of minions, but it's going to force Xaylia back. He's going to use this opportunity to go back and buy the Gold Fury. There's a little bit of a tizzy. Not too much going on there, but Proxy is caught out a little bit out of where he wants to be.
Yeah, it looked like Proxy was trying to solo it. I think it was really just him clearing out a Sentry Ward and hitting the Gold Fury with a Shockwave, but the Gold Fury was certainly hitting Proxy, so that will be that. But, you know, right now, Exposed Secrets, they've showed us what their goal is with this mid matchup, and I think their biggest problem is just Agni's really, really good at not dying, and Mox is pressuring Shadow Nightmare a lot harder than anyone is able to pressure Confrey, because how do you kill Agni, right? That's the big existential question when you're facing that character. His dash is, out of all of the dashes, as in you move along the ground, you don't go through walls, it's probably hands down the best. You move very fast, you do a ton of damage to people standing in it, you have 0 startup time, which means on land, You press the button, you dash immediately. It's very, very strong. Thor is up in the air. This is going to be a fight, and Funball immediately mezzes out Dover, immediately goes up in the air. Proxy QQ taking a lot of damage. Funball is going to come down right into the mix before he drops his Desert Furies. Frostiak in the backline. He's the target. Fear No Evil comes out very late. Very, very smart, and Dover will be forced out very low, secured by the overhand smash. Proxy goes down, but he's going to get a lot of kills for his team. Just for a simple death.
Definitely worth it, and Exposed Secrets is immediately going to turn their sights onto this Gold Fury. Frostiak pretty low after doing a lot of work. Frostiak has earned himself 2 kills in that engagement. They're going to try to pick off Frezzy, but a beautiful Kraken is going to force the Gold Fury to be retreated. Azalea is going to pick up a kill as well. Shadow Nightmare through the wall! Con-free, you're going nowhere, and Exposed Secrets is going to resume their fight onto the Gold Fury. Those kills have lent themselves to Exposed Secrets to give themselves a about 2,000 gold lead with the kill of the Gold Fury. That is a 37-58 gold lead here. 16 minutes in, you have your first real lead of the game.
I mean, that snipe, right? Shadow Nightmare. I guess having Zaylee on the roster has taught him a thing or two, and you know that's just a joke. As Shadow Nightmare is, of course, a very strong player in his own right. Definitely a really, really strong raw player. As I think most players would have just fed uncontrollably against Moex. Shadow Nightmare has been able to hold his ground, not even building defensive items. He is doing really, really well this game, despite being in a very difficult position. That snipe, though, was unreal. It does secure the D side. It does... Well, the Gold Fury was probably already guaranteed, but it just, like, completely seals the deal. There's absolutely nothing that can happen when the entire enemy's team is dead, unless the Gold Fury... Unless you mess up horribly, the Gold Fury is not going to kill everyone. And you really would have to mess up horribly to do that.
So Exposed Secrets got the Gold Fury, a mid tower, a side tower as well. That's going to bring them up to about 5,200 gold in the lead. They're still leading by 2 kills. Of course, they're leading by 2 towers as well. So you're sitting 38,000 gold, almost 39 for Bloodytech, with 44,000 gold on the side of Exposed Secrets. One big play. That's all it took. And you mentioned before, as Funball regresses onto Confi, a good mez, but he's going to beads it out. Going to stun Funball. Here comes the Cavalry. Proxy QQ getting the Cataclysm onto Agni. Not enough to secure him to die, but 2 members of Bloodytech come over to shade over and provide a little bit of defense. I think that was the game plan the entire time with respect to Shadow Nightmare. Just survive.
Yeah.
Don't lose the lane. You're not there to win the lane. Just don't lose the lane, because we're going to do something in mid that allows Funball to be everywhere. And right now, they're going to siege this mid tower. They've got 3 members here to Bloodytech's 2. Here comes a 3rd. Proxy QQ are down about 50%. The weakening is coming out and walking away very slowly right there. And they're going to back off. Good choice to play carefully. I always say, Kret, play the lead, but don't let the lead play you. Very good choice to play a little more carefully right there as Dover comes back around and gets a stun.
Yeah, so, you know, right now, Exposed Secrets does have an advantage. They're going to be looking for this duo lane tower as the duo of Funball and Shadow Nightmare in the same lane, just looking to get a little bit of a siege going. And against this, the duo lane of Bloodytech, that is Frezzy and Moex, is not really going to be too fruitful, as they will find a way to clear. But we are going to be replaying that snipe for you guys here. It is going to be a snipe coming out from Shadow Nightmare, and he's going to find out, he's going to secure the D side for his team, secures the Gold Fury. That snipe was unreal. Such a long-range snipe. Able to take that one. Back to the game, though. Wow, what an... I'm still blown away. That was really just...
It really was an exciting play through the wall, through the long range. Fantastic play right there. It was sort of the icing on the cake, Kret. It provided the D side. It allowed the extra towers to go down for Exposed Secrets to take that away from Bloodytech. Fantastic Smite instant replay right there. Feel free to tweet about it if you feel like it. I certainly want to, but I'm otherwise occupied at the moment. Funballer being caught out a little bit. Here's 2 members in front of him, 1 member behind him. Dover's gonna get a good stun, a good bounce, but here comes Gev right in the nick of time. Proxy showing that he's not just a new member of the Guardian race, but he is here to support. Great stone shield, and completely deterred the enemy from progressing and aggressing onto Funballer right there.
You know, I always say right now in the meta, there's one reason you pick Geb. Well, there's 1.5 reasons. Mostly Stone Shield, a little bit Blink Cataclysm. But Stone Shield is really what it's all about. If you don't have someone worth Stone Shielding, I don't really think Geb is worth picking. And it really comes down to having someone who can be a hard carry. You can give up some damage, really damage, and a little bit early game survivability on one pick in order to massively increase the survivability of another pick. Bloodytech is threatening the Fire Giant right now, but really, it's all about the picks. They're going to be looking for Proxy here. They're also looking for Prostiac simultaneously in the middle lane, who will get down to just 50% health, eliminated by Moex with that Desert Fury and 3 Meteors. It's actually a pretty heavy cost in terms of ultimates, but it's one that Bloodytech is certainly willing to play, especially because they shut down a Heartseeker.
Oh yeah, I mean, even without the Heartseeker, it's beyond worth it. Frostiak going to be down for about half a minute at the moment that I'm speaking. It's going to keep them down. You know, an extra person off the board is going to keep the pressure down, the map pressure down. And right now, when you're playing from behind, most notably 5,700 gold behind Kret, you really want to keep the enemy from aggressing onto you as much as possible. You might not be able to make a play of your own, but preventing exposed secrets from making a play onto you is the next best thing. We're going to see Bloodytech go ahead and start the Fire Giant fight as Frostiak is down. He's going to res right now. In comes the cavalry from Exposed Secrets, though. The Octopus is going to come out of the ground. Bloodytech's going to get the Fire Giant, but Sneaky's going to kill Funballer as well. Zalia's in that big baby. A good snipe from Shadow Nightmare going to confirm onto 2 targets, but no deaths right there. This is going to be a free, clean and clear and under control Fire Giant for Bloodytech. Fantastic play. Seized the opportunity. Seized the buff. They're now sitting down 4,600, but they have that Fire Giant. Kret, why don't you tell us a little bit tangibly what kind of numbers you can assume that the Fire Giant's going to bring to us, and what Bloodytech can do with this?
I'm betting it's going to be all 6 towers down, or 4 towers and a Phoenix, maybe 2. I don't think they can get the full wipe off of it. They don't have enough time, and they will probably secure the Gold Fury. But I just want to mention, Bloodytech just had the cleanest disengage I have ever seen. They were just gone. They didn't even have a Heavenly Agility.
There was no choice to fight. Yeah, totally. They immediately knew that they had to get in, get out. I absolutely love the play call.
Fear no evil in the back, though. Looks like Exposed Secrets wants to contest. They will take the Gold Fury, but what will they lose for? Azalea gets very low, and if he falls, it's going to be difficult. Gets absolutely stomped on by Frezzy with that belly flop. Now, can Bloodytech find anything else? They did lose the Gold Fury. That's a little bit of gold kept in favor of Exposed Secrets, but this is really about map control, and that middle tower is going to be the first step. The crack, pretty much every ultimate from Bloodytech has been used. You do have Cataclysm coming out in the backline. That's just going to delay as there's nothing to follow it up with. And now it's just Intoxicate, Meteors as they come up. Frost is going to feel the pain. No ultimates used to burn him down. Intoxicate now dropped to reduce Funballer's damage, but he's so strong that maybe he misses 1 auto attack, which could make a difference, but it's not going to be a massive one. Dover's in the air. He's going to come crashing down on the tower. And that was the one time where it looked like Anvil of Dawn did tower damage.
I love the play calling coming out from Bloodytech. I don't know who their shot caller is at the moment. I don't know who's calling these plays, but whoever is looks like they need to teach a lot of people what's going on. A full man rotation coming over here for the tower. They were okay with giving up the Gold Fury as long as they took a couple of lives for it. They took the Fire Giant and didn't want to press their luck fighting an enemy that was a bunch of gold ahead. Here comes Funballer trying to prevent something. He's just going to ride around in the Swag Chariot. No real entry point. He's going to take it anyway. The Octopus comes out yet again. The Kraken doing not enough damage right there. Funball's probably not going to get out of this one. Great snipe and a finisher from Moex right there. And now they're going to look onto Dover. Zalia's going to get the kill in the big baby mode. Shadow Nightmare confirming the kill. Onto the Agni, out comes Desert Fury. Moex taking a lot of damage, stuck in the Whirlpool. Zalia's gonna get the last hit. That is a 3-for-1 exchange. They're still fighting, they're still going. Exposed Secrets pushing this tower, want some more.
And I think Funballer realized, okay, every time I land from across the sky, the Kraken, all I have to do is dash out of the Kraken, use B to get out of the Kraken. He did it, and while he died, at what cost, right?
Right.
Dover and Contri used their movement abilities early, and Zalia was like, hey, You can't dash away from me.
See,
and he just stomped on them. It was gone. Moex, he almost escaped, but when you move slowly, you can't run through your own pillar. Frostiak can take a lot of damage from Prezi here. The Intoxicate Anvil of Don as Dover's respawn quickly, but Fear No Evil annihilates him. The Phoenix will go down to Exposed Secrets. Frostiak getting very, very low, but it's actually sneaky. The Kraken is back up. Zalia looking for the kill. Not gonna find it. Will take a lot of damage here, but he's probably good to get out, as Wamana is just very hard to kill. And that, the cooldown on that Enfeebling Curse will get him out.
Beautiful play right there. They lost a member. Proxy QQ goes down to the Monkey. He actually died to the damage ticks of Fear No Evil. Not something to see very often, but the Phoenix does go down. That's going to provide a lot of map presence for Exposed Secret. So wonderful play from underneath comes Bloodytech, but Exposed Secret responds in spades, sitting at the 25.5-minute mark, 6,100 gold up after fighting back a beautiful come-from-behind fight from Bloodytech. This has been neck and neck, Cret. We are watching a tug of war here on Smite Game in our SWCS European Regionals at the moment. Exciting stuff coming out. New meta, new characters, new teams. This is what we watch for, essentially. I love the play that have been coming out from Bloodytech and the play that's been coming out of Exposed Secrets. You know, you mentioned briefly about how Funball knows that when he lands, the Kraken's going to come out. That's that dynamic play that we spoke about earlier. And, you know, mechanics, hitting your basics, being Barracuda-esque, and making sure you hit invisible people as Exposed Secret is waiting for this Fire Giant to spawn right there. There's more to the game than that. There's that intangible. There's that playing against the player rather than the game, and that's exactly what Funballer pulled off. He landed, dashed, he's playing dynamically, he's learning on the fly, and that's what the pros do. This next fight is going to be over Fire Giant, Cret. Who wins this could determine the name of the game, or it could just be an impasse. We'll see in just a matter of minutes.
Well, you know, here's the thing, right? Bloodytech got the Fire Giant, they got out clean. And then, in the 5 minutes that they had the buff, then the 1 minute downtime, then the Fire Giant respawn, Exposed Secrets, the team that didn't get the Fire Giant, got a Phoenix, and got up 500 gold. That's not supposed to happen, but the Fire Giant looks like it's going to Bloodytech right now. The Blink, the Cataclysm will come out. The Fire Giant has not yet been hogged. Bloodytech will take it, but can they get out cleanly? Dover will fall. Frezi will fall. 3 members left. Zalia is able to push people out, which is definitely very strong. He's not able to secure kills because of those dashes, those movement abilities. They can simply outrun the baby, but when you're running from the baby, you're not fighting. And 1 for 2, and a tower, yeah, there's Fire Giant. It's on 3 members of Bloodytech, but I think given the gold lead right now, it's not even enough. It's not even enough to make the match even. 7k gold plus Fire Giant, I think Exposed Secrets is still slightly ahead.
Yeah, that's a win for Exposed Secrets without a doubt. They traded their support, which doesn't really matter much. I mean, they're gonna get this gold free without a hog. They're gonna get this gold free without a hog. They don't need it. It's 28 minutes into the game, Cret. They have more than enough damage to bring that down. That's gonna extrapolate their lead to a whopping 8,000 gold. We talk about 4,000, 5,000 being the point of contention where you start to discuss your lead, and 10,000 being the point where you start to really feel your lead. You're essentially almost a full item above your opponent. 8,000 gold, you're starting to start the conversation of what crazy strategy can we pull out of our hat to win this game. And 8,000 gold ahead right now, Cret. Exposed Secrets is doing work to Bloodytech. Bloodytech hasn't given it to them easily, but Exposed Secret is showing their salt, showing the fact that they are a team full of veterans and playing the way you would expect them to play.
And you know, the biggest thing I see right here, we talked about how the Transcendence is stronger than the Heartseeker, right?
Yes.
Moex is working on a chin size. He's 1,100 gold away. Funballer is working on a Rage. He's 1,100 gold away. Funball already has a Deathbringer, and Moex already has a Rage. And once that Rage finishes for Funballer, he is just going to do substantially more damage than Moex. I don't think Chin Size is going to be able to do enough damage at this point in the game. It's a strong item, and it's actually pretty good on Hunters now with the recent changes to make it 5% maximum health. However, once you commit to crit, you stay with crit, and I think going that Chin Size against the Deathbringer is mathematically a loss, and Moex is going to be feeling it, not in this fight, but the fight after this fight. Funballer will just do more damage.
Oh yeah, Funball is going to be able to provide a lot of crits. A lot of times when we see hunters just delete people, that is usually lends itself to big crits. I mean, yesterday we had a community tournament. Tier Monster had a tournament, and they had a pentakill, and it resulted from crits from the hunter.
Yep.
So crit is a very powerful tool to bring to the table. Very powerful to think about. Chin size used to be a offensive item, offensive in the sense that don't build it, it offends me on hunters. Now it's a little more mathematically sound, but I agree, it's all about the crits. And right now, Bloodytech is starting to get aggressive. They have 3 members with Fire Giant still, 2 members without, but all 5 members of their team are in this left-hand lane, starting a siege. I think they've waited a little bit too long, though, Cret. Funball is already in the air. Zalia's on the side. Dover's trying to provide a little bit of distraction. Not quite enough. The Kragan's going to come out and hit 2 members, stun 3, and that's going to be a problem for them. Out comes the Monkey's ultimate, going to send people flying. 2 people beats. Funball is going to pick up Sneaky. Zalia's going to pick up Dover. 5 members for Exposed Secrets, 3 members for Bloodytech left on the map. Frezzy going to make it 2. Only 2 members remain, Confree and Moex. That leaves Moex all by himself, running away. He's at mid camps, and that's Exposed Secrets win right there, completely deterring the siege that Bloodytech wanted to do. And they're gonna go back to base the long way and opt to play it safe, as they do have an honor. And they're going to go to the enemy base and play it safe and look for the Phoenix, as they only have an honor to worry about.
You know, I think the biggest thing in that fight, and it was a little bit of a misplay from Dover. I know what he was trying to do, but he landed in Fear No Evil.
Yep.
Right, and that it's not entirely bad luck, right? You see Hoonbot's in the back line, you're like, okay, he's gonna ult. It's unfortunate timing is really the best way to put it. Is that he lands, Fear No Evil goes up, and he immediately just gets crowd controlled, immediately starts running, and then immediately dies. Really, really unfortunate, and that's that's one of the problems with Thor, right? His ult is really, really powerful. It's a great shock and awe effect. It does lots of control. It does a fair amount of damage too, and it puts you in a great spot. But if you get crowd controlled out of it, or like soon after, you could just die, because you're not truly a warrior. You're really more of an assassin, and the way Dover's building it's not a heavy enough build in terms of defenses to make him stay alive through anything like a Fear No Evil. And a big part is shoutouts to Frostiak. This game really hasn't been him, right? It's been the Zalia show, it's been the Funballer show. Frostiak he's more than a walking ultimate, but let's be real, he's a walking ultimate.
And I mean, honestly, that's not a bad thing. Fear No Evil CCs for about 3 seconds, I think, 2.5 at the very least. In comes Dover, looking to CC his own people. Shadow Nightmare's getting aggressed on by Dover. He's gonna beats for the reset and also to get out of the slow. Out in the backline is Baby wailing on Confree, gonna take his life away right there. No harm, no foul. Dover in the back though, getting chased by Frostiak. A miss Rob Beam is gonna come out. That's gonna leave 3 members of Bloodytech alive. Exposed Secrets is gonna be able to get this Fire Giant almost for free. I don't know how much Sneaky and Moex can do, although Frezzy has arrived as well, and he does have the hog, so we'll see if they can get this steal.
Well, Zalia is going to be zoning Frostiak, trying to get aggressive, looking for Sneaky here. Frezzy's in the area, will jump through. Stone Shield mitigates the belly flop. Yeah, it was a second too late, but also with Stone Shield, you don't get knocked up. Belly Flop, no longer such a great stealing ability when it doesn't crowd control your opponent. In fact, you just end up in the recovery animation. Shadow Nightmare will find that kill with the first tick of his heal, but a big thing that I actually just noticed, and I completely glossed over this, I should have noticed it earlier. Bloodytech doesn't have anti-heal.
They don't have any anti-heal.
That is just unacceptable, honestly. There's a Balmana. You should have a Weakening Curse, probably a Divine Ruin. There's a Ra. You should have a Weakening Curse, probably a Divine Ruin. Both of them, and you have nothing, you can't. You actually can't get away with that, and that's a big, big problem.
Yeah, and that's exactly what's going on. We're seeing all 3 Phoenixes going to go down. I'd be surprised if Exposed Secrets didn't go for the win. It's 34 minutes in. They're up 15,000 gold cred. Funball is in the air. The rest of his team is aggressing onto the middle Titan right here. Down comes Funballer for the extra damage. Down goes the Titan. Exposed Secrets going to take this away. Not an easy match by any means of the word, but the victory does go to Exposed Secrets after 34 minutes of intense smite action.
Exposed Secrets really played that recovery well, and I think the biggest point for that match was the Fire Giant, the first one going to Bloodytech. They got it, got out clean. I believe they lost one member for that Fire Giant and then escaped cleanly with the rest. And then over the course of those 5 minutes, they lost a Phoenix and lost 500 gold. Granted, they took a few towers, but Exposed Secrets was just able to hold in spectacular fashion. Really, really impressive play coming out from them. And, I think Funball mid works. It's weird, and it's got some weaknesses and it's got some strengths, but what it comes down to is he's able to build a little bit greedier. He's able to rotate a little bit more.
As well.
What?
There's some tweaks that'll come out as well. I think we'll see attention to where exactly the support goes. Maybe they can leave Apollo there by himself, Geb go elsewhere. I do want to correct ourselves real quick with the Pestilence. There was a Pestilence on Bacchus, so there was a little bit of healing, of anti-heal, but not enough, not as much as I want to see. But we are going to watch a replay real quick of this match. We're going to see we're going to go into the replay in about a couple of seconds. We're going to see Thor and Bacchus converge and have absolutely insane teamwork right here. Very cool exemplary fashion of what is going on between these two teams.
Yeah, it just comes down to precision plays coming out from multiple people. You communicate as much as you can, and then you extrapolate the rest, right? You say, okay, well, what does a Thor usually do in this situation? What does my teammate Dover usually do in this situation? How are they likely to play it? And using a combination of your intelligence and your sort of spatial awareness and guesses for what people are going to do, you figure out how to play off of your team. That's how Smite works, because you can't communicate perfectly. But now let's talk about the brackets. We did see Bloodytech go down to Exposed Secrets. On screen, we have our brackets, and now we're going on to the round of 4. Round 4, which is the round of 8. Exactly. Round 4 is going to be Team Solo Mid versus Team Spray, Worth Gaming versus Exposed Secrets, I5 versus Handball, Cloud9 hi-rez versus a newer team, Agilitas. And, we've got some really good matchups here, right? This is a very powerful round 8. We're going to be watching Team Solo Mid versus Team Spray. But before we talk about that one, let's talk about the new Cloud9 and Agilitas, because new team versus very new roster, right?
Right. Yeah, definitely cool stuff going on right there. Going to be paying attention to that on the off rounds. I want to give one more shout out to the match we just watched, though, Cret. 2 extremely powerful teams. Don't forget, this is just week 1 of 12 for the regional qualifiers, so expect to see a lot more out of Bloodytech. I think the calls were right, the brainstorming was right, and the team play was right. Exposed Secrets just wound up being the fiercer battler right here, and they rightfully won. I think they earned their victory, but I'm very excited to see the future of Bloodytech. Saying that, we're going to go into our next matches in just a couple of minutes, but don't forget, tweet #SWCS for your reactions to the past match and your anticipation for the next one coming up. For Cret, my name is F. Stay tuned. We'll see you soon.